Minecraft update tier list, starting with 1.0. Some might not consider it an update because that is the base version of the game in full release, but just to go over what it added compared to the beta, brewing, enchanting, the end, the mushroom islands were added along with the nether fortress, the ender dragon, obviously, blazes, magma cubes, snow golems, and villagers. If the game in its current state did not have all those things and that was the update we got, I think that's a pretty good update. 1.1 added super flat and made some changes to stuff. That's about it. I would put that 1.2. This is when I first started playing Minecraft. The jungle was just added. They also added iron golems, ocelots, desert wells, and mine shafts. So 1.2 added a new biome, new mobs, new structures, all in 2 months of 1.1. That is insane. I think that has to go in A tier. Also, nostalgia has a little bit of influence on that. 1.3. This is the update. They added emeralds, and they added wood stairs and slabs for the other 3 wood variants. They also added the desert and jungle temples. So we got new structures, trading, and some more blocks to work with. So I think that's pretty good. It's not new biome worthy, but it's definitely a good update. 2 months after 1.3, we got 1.4, the update that added the wither. Also, cobblestone walls, potatoes, carrots, anvils, and beacons. Wither skeletons, witches, and bats. Adding a new boss, that is really cool. 1.5, the redstone update. This added the dropper, hopper, and comparator, to name a few, along with quartz. For redstoners, it's a perfect update. I'm kind of leaning towards C. It's good stuff to have in a update. It's not necessarily a good thing to make an entire update about. 1.6, the horse update. I had a server at the time that 1.6 came out, and as soon as the update came out, I made a horse statue based on the new mob. The main blocks this update added was carpet and stained clay. Stained clay has its uses, but generally, I don't use it. Now, horses are a great way of travel, but, you know, there's also other ways, like ice boats through the nether. I would say maybe C tier. There are definitely way better updates out there. Speaking of way better updates, 1.7. This, I think, is peak Minecraft time. About 4 months after the previous update, we got the Savannah biome and Dark Oak Forest, adding acacia and dark oak wood. It also added stained glass, packed ice, podzol, coarse dirt, red sand, a whole load of flowers. They added the Mesa biome, the Sunflower Plains, the Birch Forest, the Flower Forest, the Taiga, Mega Taiga, Extreme Hills Plus, and Deep Ocean. It has to be S tier. That is peak Minecraft update right there. A ton new biomes and 2 new wood variants. The only thing that could make that update better is if they added new mobs or structures or a boss or something. We had to wait a while for 1.8. We had to wait almost an entire year. It's the update that started this trend of updates coming out much slower, where they used to be every couple months. This is the Ocean Monument update. So that adds the Guardians, including kind of a new boss, Prismarine, Sea Lanterns, which are such a good looking light source, Diorite, Andesite, and Granite, which are not that great. They added slime blocks, banners, fences, and doors for all 6 wood types. Rabbits and armor stands were added to the game. Maybe it's B tier. New structure, new boss, like, that's pretty good. In some ways, though, it feels like it's just adding some of the things that 1.7 should have had. It makes you want to go to the oceans more, but at the same time, people still don't go to the oceans all that often. 1.9 updated the end, so it brought in the chorus plants, the end cities, and the elytra. They also added in beetroot. I don't know why they did that. They also updated combat. Adding shields and an offhand is kind of cool. The combat definitely needed to be reworked. I kind of think the combat update made the game worse, though. I think I'm gonna give it a B tier. Adding more stuff to the end was really good, but I really think they need to make a combat update 2.0. They need to update the end again by porting everything from dungeons into Java. They also need to completely revamp the combat system once again, and I would think they need to take some cues from dungeons and put it into Java. 1.10, they added polar bears, strays, husks. Kind of a pathetic update, if you ask me. Like, polar bears are cool, but that's it. 1.11. This added the Woodland Mansion, along with the Illagers, Vindicators, Evokers, Vexes, Llamas, Shulker Boxes, and Observers. I think it's kind of an average update. Adding a new structure is great, but I also think the scale is way too big and doesn't make any sense. In other words, good idea, just not the best execution. 1.12, they added a whole bunch of different colored blocks. You got concrete, glazed terracotta, colored beds, and parrots. Really not that much in the update. A new mob and some new blocks. I do like the blocks, but once again, I don't use them that often. I'm thinking D tier. It should have been part of an update, not an entire update. The aquatic update. Remember before this, when you try to swim and you just be like doing this on the surface of the water? Now you can actually swim. They completely revamped oceans. Thank goodness. They added kelp, they added coral. There's dolphins, drowned, and turtles, and actual fish that swim in the ocean. This is also when they introduced the mob vote in the Phantom one. They also added buried treasure and icebergs and shipwrecks and ocean ruins. I'll give it a B because it's a very good update. It doesn't change the gameplay any, it just makes the oceans look way better. Now, if the ocean monument was also in the update, could have been S tier update. 1.14, the controversial update. After 1.7, I kind of feel like everyone just started falling off the game and they started going to other things. But then 1.14 came up and they were like, we're gonna change the textures of everything in the game. And everyone was like, no, you can't change it. My childhood is gonna be gone, no. And then it turns out that all the texture changes actually made the game look way better. Netherrack was probably the best texture change ever. But besides for the textures, it was the Pillage and Village update, where they added Illagers raiding villages along with the Ravagers. They added bamboo, barrels, bells, blast furnace, campfire, cartography table, composter, fletching table, some other flowers, grindstones, lanterns, lecterns, looms, scaffolding, the other wood variants of signs, smithing tables, smokers, stone cutters, sweetberry bushes, and stairs, slabs, and walls for a bunch of different stone types. They also added crossbows, foxes, pandas, the wandering trader. The most worthless thing in the entire game. Bamboo forests, villager outposts. They also added a bunch of new ways to craft and smelt things. In some ways, that's a really good thing. In other ways, it kind of overcomplicates the game. I think it's a good update, but at the same time, how much of it do you actually use? Raids is one more thing to do. It's kind of like a boss, and having a blast furnace to smelt your ores faster is nice. The new texture changes are nice too. I'm gonna put it there for now. We might change these around in a minute. 1.15, F tier. F tier. Worst update ever. Oh my freaking gosh. Bees. That's all you have to say. They spent an entire year making stupid bees, and they're giant freaking blobs. Bees are not this big. They're this big. If they were a small part of an update, it would be fine, but because that is the entire update, F tier. 1.16, Nether update. Complete overhaul of the Nether, also added Netherite, S tier. Instant S tier. Perfect update. You're not in the Nether all the time, but when you are, this update makes it so much better. Also adding a new tier of weapons and armor. So cool that they did that. I think everyone was very skeptical when it came out. They're like, you can't have something better than diamond. And then came out and everyone's like, yeah, it's cool. Netherite having certain abilities, like not being able to burn in lava, very cool. I think in future updates, they really need to look into adding more armor sets and weapons that have different functions, not just better armor, if that makes sense. 1.16 made it so you could live in the Nether from scratch. They added the wood and stone types, and they added the respawn anchor. I really think they should do that to the end, where you can live and start from nothing. 1.17, F. Not because the update is bad, it's because it's a part 1. The blocks and mobs they added to 17 are good. You would wait a whole nother year for all the new world and biome generation to be able to spawn all the stuff. If 17 and 18 were a combined update, they'd be S tier. 1.19, this added the mangrove forest with a new wood variant and frogs. I love the frog model in the game. And they also added the ancient cities, the deep dark, the warden. It's disappointing that 1.19 is a Caves and Cliffs part 3 with some added stuff. It's also sad they didn't add the birch forest. But even as is, a horror element to the game, a new place to go find, and a great new swamp biome, I think it's definitely an A tier. And finally, 1.20. They added the cherry blossom forest with a new wood type. They also added bamboo as a wood type. Chiseled bookshelf, decorated pot, hanging sign, the trail ruins, which I think are a stupid structure in my opinion, but they added the archaeology in, and the sniffer. That's cool being able to bring back an extinct species. Also armor templates, so you can customize the look of your armor. And they added the camel. I think they did a good job with 1.20. It's kind of hard to compare some of these because an update back in 2012 is completely different from an update in 2023. You might have noticed a little bit of a trend where the first updates, they were pretty good, and then they kind of went downhill, and then I think we're kind of back up. I also want to point out the consistency of updates. Full release, end of 2011. Then we had 4 updates in 2012, 3 updates in 2013. That's crazy. We went from 1.1 to 1.7 in 2 years. I think having that many updates was really helpful for keeping a consistent player base when the game was really kicking off. Skip a year and then 3 updates and then 1 update a year till today. So what happened in 2014 to first kill Minecraft's popularity and to kill the update consistency? Microsoft bought Minecraft in 2014. That's all you need to know, because Microsoft ruins everything they touch. There's not really anything that they shouldn't have done in the updates. They just should have been combined with other updates and maybe done a little bit differently. I want to know your thoughts in the comments. I made this video because I want to share my opinions, but I also wanted it to be a conversation starter. If you like this one, share with a friend, and if you want to see more like this, hit subscribe. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.